Excuse my clothing, but my name's Roshan Sundar and this is my Sustainable Food Challenge.
Hey you! Don't watch that! Watch this! This is the heavy monster!
Overall, the foods I eat and my overall diet is decently balanced, but the choices that I make in between my main meals that have at least a decent balance aren't really the best choices, especially for the sustainability of this plan. So as an athlete, and because I was injured last year, my goal was to gain a lot of weight. So I've been eating a lot of meat, trying to balance out my diet the best I could, but there's still a lot of room for improvement, especially because in between my more balanced, in a sense, more balanced meals, I'm having a lot of not healthy foods for me and for the environment. A lot is goldfish. Goldfish is obviously processed and it's put in a package, and although it's baked with real cheese, there's probably other chemicals and other different types of materials used or ingredients used to make it. But I eat this every day. But even plastic wrappers like these, when you put them in the trash, they're not actually being handled with care. So this plastic itself is hurting the environment, but the food inside, processed cheese crackers, are not. Another thing that I constantly am eating, or drinking in this case, is apple juice. So this is Apple and Eve apple juice, and this is also equally as bad as the goldfish because that itself came from Connecticut, so the distance traveled is already ridiculous and it's not sustainable for the environment. But also, this isn't even healthy for me because it has filtered water. Yeah, on this label it says filtered water sufficient to reconstitute apple juice concentrate. So that means they're using water, but this isn't exactly complete apple juice like from the apple itself, But this is not safe for the environment, not completely healthy for me. Better option than soda in some cases, even though this has a lot of sugar itself. But yeah, the last thing that I'm constantly eating is Cracker Barrel or pepper jack cheese, but Sargento or other brands of cheese that are all processed and put in packages like this so that it's easy for us to eat. But this is not exactly healthy either because the amount of wrappers that these produce is not safe, and the unhealthiness of processed food, even if it's cheese, because cheese is still pretty healthy dairy food. It's not good for the environment with this, or for me necessarily. Overall, my food choices, I eat a lot of stuff high on the food chain, like meat, because I'm a meat eater. But a lot of these food choices aren't exactly healthy in between, even if it's a snack in between. My goal is to try to get stuff into my body just so I can get calories in, so when I'm lifting weights, it's easier to build muscle on my body. But there are better ways and more sufficient and healthier ways for me to do this by eating better food and by implementing these healthier foods into my everyday life. Even though this isn't what I eat all the time, and considering that I eat rice a lot, and a lot of my meals are balanced with types of vegetables, different types of meat, curry, and carbs. Lots of the things I eat in between, as I showed you, have packaging, have been processed, and even when we say we can throw it out or recycle it or anything like that, they're not actually recyclable, or they're not actually recycled. They are recyclable and you can put them in there, but a very minimal amount is actually recycled and handled with proper care for sustainability. Overall, my diet can be more balanced and more healthy, and I think I need to make some changes, even in my in-between food, with my snacks and drinks choices. They're not extremely healthy for me, considering goldfish, Cheez-Its, all that kind of stuff that I eat. It's all processed, even the cheese. And I can even cut down on the amount of meat that I eat, but still eat enough so that I can be filled and grow as with my weight and as an athlete. But a lot of this stuff I just need to implement into my everyday life and make some tweaks to what I'm eating right now, because although I'm eating pretty decently balanced, there is a lot of room for improvement for my dinner, breakfast, lunch, everything. It's time to make some changes, so let's get to that. I have 3 goals that I want to make my diet more sustainable. The first one is to eat more fruits, vegetables, mainly fruits, and healthier drinks like water in between meals before I have my next semi-balanced meal. Another change that I want to make is a meatless day, so I'm thinking like Thursday or something, so it's kind of in the middle of the week. But on that day, I should try to avoid eating meat, but still have enough where I can sustain my hunger and still build and develop as a person. My third goal is to actually have an organic, at least try an organic food of some type, and just replace whatever that substance or ingredient was in whatever I was making, so I can eat that organic food instead of the one that I was eating that was most likely processed. I think this is very possible to do, and although the organic food might cost a little bit more, then it's way more sustainable for the environment, and honestly probably healthier for me too. I think I can go through with this change, and if I can, my life and the earth around me will become a better place. This is actually some organic paneer. It's cottage cheese, but we use it for a lot of there's like North Indian and South Indian cooking, so this is some North Indian cooking, and I'm actually having this for dinner, so this is replacing, if I can, although this is a faraway place, but the cost is cheap, and this is organic cheese, so if I can keep using this cheese every week for my sustainable diet, it should be pretty good. This is a small portion example of something you can make out of the organic cheese I showed you before. It's called paneer. It's an Indian curry. You can add some spice to basically make it into a curry, and you can eat it with rice. This is one of my meals for today. It's pasta with some seasoning and sauce on it. This is my example for something that I can implement where I can get carbs. It's still a pretty filling meal. It's only the first part of like what I'm going to eat, but at least it can show that I'm not having meat, and I haven't had meat today. Even my lunch, I only had a piece of pizza and fries. Although that's not the most healthy thing, it's still less work to make and more sustainable than meats. So this is my example of a meatless Thursday. The changes that I made in this challenge, although they were very difficult to implement, I'm not gonna lie, they were very helpful, and they honestly made me feel better, more energetic. They cost a little bit more just because it's fresher, more organic food, but the idea of implementing this, at least a small bit of it in my diet, would be very smart and beneficial to not only me, but the earth. The environmental impacts of eating food like this is a lot less than eating meat every single day, because the energy required to feed the cows, if I was eating beef, feed the chickens, raise them, bring them to a butcher, etc., etc. So this is my success and growth throughout the Sustainable Food Challenge.
Don't watch that, watch this. This is the heavy monster sound.
So first, I'm going to start by talking about fair trade certified and non-GMO certified and what that means. So here, if you look, this is the fair trade logos, and this is a non-GMO project. And what this means is there's specific projects that focus on producing foods that don't have GMOs and focus on fair trade. Fair trade, you probably don't know what that means. It means that the people who work to produce the products made were in good conditions, so they weren't facing any discrimination or any just inequalities when working to produce food. And GMOs are genetically modified organisms, and by avoiding these, there's unnecessary risks that are at hand when using these products.
Okay, so going off of that, in a lot of places it's actually like really hard for them to obtain certain things. So like let's just say like water. Like some people have to walk like miles to get water when we can just like turn on our tap and get water. Well, like even their water isn't even completely like sustainable, and they can like use it to become very like sustainably healthy. And like a lot of the stuff we use actually would harm them because we use packaging and processed food, so it's in like plastic bags or like whatever, and once we're done and we throw it away, it's not actually handled with care. They can go to like waste landfills that they have to like clean, and it just goes up all their land just because they're the poor people.
Okay. Yeah. So, in the world, more than 1 billion tons of waste is produced every year, and more than 4 pounds of waste is per person each day. And as he was talking about, this also increases greenhouse gases, which leads to global warming, and it pollutes the soil and the water in the climate.
So going off of that, a lot of stuff that we eat, we kind of take for advantage because, and even in our America, like the obesity problem is becoming so big because processed food is becoming like such a big thing. But people go for processed food because it's convenient and that they can easily buy it and eat it. But what in reality, it's like harming all of us, while also like harming the environment with all like the excess from like fossil fuels and things like that that's hurting the environment. So, for example, like instead of eating like a piece of like processed cheese and like side grilled cheese, you can buy like an organic one, which is like, although it's a little bit more pricey, it's like a lot more efficient in the way that they made it. It's a lot more fresh.
So organic foods are always better because they don't have any artificial products like synthetic pesticides or fertilizers. They're often also healthier. One disadvantage is that they're a bit more expensive, but when you're considering the cost of the environment and all the negative factors, it's not that much of a disadvantage compared to all the extra advantages from organic goods. Also, from organic goods, it's important to have local goods, which means that the products you're getting are from local areas, because then it takes less fuel and energy for transportation for these products to go to the consumer.
Things like where you can eat less meat. You can like have one day where you say like, oh, I'm not going to eat as much meat. That's what I implemented into my project, because the amount of effort it takes to make meat and the amount of energy it uses is a lot more than creating like crops and like plants that you can eat in like a salad or something prepared. That doesn't mean you have to just get rid of it completely, but you can still like work your way to that point.
Yeah, and so the main reason meat consumption is so negative for the environment is due to the 10% rule, which states that when energy is passed through the food chain, 90% of energy is lost. So if you're eating crops, it degrades energy, but when you're eating meats, the livestock eat grain, which only has 10% of that energy, and then when you eat the meat, you're getting 10% of the already 10% that they've had. So a lot of energy is lost and it's not efficient.
So like now that you know like kind of how we change our diet, what's something that you could like, one thing, it doesn't have to be like super drastic, that you could change in yours?
I think that if we farm efficiently, we can produce more organic food, so that way more people have access to organic food.
Do you think you would want to buy like organic food and at least try it? Because
But the thing is, some people may not have the income to buy organic food.
Yeah, there's always some disadvantages to everything we talk about, but the fact is that there's often more positive factors in this.
if you'd rather live on an earth that you can actually like survive on and not just like a wasteland, then you have to like at least attempt to make a change.